My friend, listen carefully. When God is about to move mightily in your life, when he is about to open a door that no man can shut, when he is about to entrust you with something bigger than your imagination, he doesn't do it suddenly. He sends signs, not in flashing lights, not in thunder from the sky, but in quiet, unmistakable ways. First, you will feel restlessness in your spirit. Things that once satisfied you will no longer do. You may look around and feel as though the place you're in is too small, not just physically, but spiritually and emotionally. That's not your dissatisfaction. God is loosening your grip on the familiar to make room for the extraordinary. Second, you will face unusual opposition. The enemy doesn't attack what doesn't threaten him. When you're close to breakthrough, close to destiny, the battle intensifies. People may misunderstand you, situations may seem unfair, but don't you dare give up. The storm is a sign that you are nearing the shore. Third, you will experience a call to separation. You'll feel led to pull away from distractions, unhealthy environments, even from some relationships that don't align with your next season, not because you are better, but because what's coming requires clarity, strength, and purity of purpose. God is setting you apart. Fourth, you will receive divine clarity. Scriptures will speak louder. A sermon will feel tailor-made for your ears. Your heart will begin to understand things you didn't grasp before. This is God tuning your spirit, making sure you're aligned with heaven's frequency so that when the door opens, you'll recognize it. And finally, you will feel a deep sense of expectancy. You won't be able to explain it. You'll just know something is about to shift. It's like the quiet moments before dawn breaks. The world still sleeps, but you can sense the light coming. So don't ignore the signs. Don't grow weary in the waiting. Don't let the shaking scare you. It's making room for the blessing. God is not just preparing the thing for you. He's preparing you for the thing. Stay faithful, stay obedient, stay expectant, because when God is about to give you something big, your life will never be the same again. When God is preparing to give you something big, something greater than what you've ever known, he doesn't just place it in your lap without preparation. Instead, he begins a process of divine alignment that often starts with discomfort, unexpected change, and a deep stirring in your spirit. It's not always obvious at first, but if you look closely, you'll notice the signs. You'll begin to feel a shift, almost like your soul is outgrowing the life around you. Things that once made you feel secure begin to feel limiting. Places where you once felt at home may now feel unfamiliar. The relationships you used to depend on might begin to change or fade. You may even feel isolated or misunderstood. But this is not rejection. It is redirection. It is not punishment. It is preparation. Discomfort is one of God's most powerful tools. When everything is easy and familiar, we rarely grow. But when life becomes uncertain, when the ground beneath us begins to shake, we're forced to pay attention. That discomfort is a sign that God is shaking loose the things that can no longer stay if you're to rise higher. He's removing the crutches so you can learn to stand in faith. He's emptying your hands so he can fill them with something better. That feeling of being unsettled, that nagging sense that something more is calling you, that's heaven's whisper. That's how God speaks when he's about to change your life. During this time, you may also notice things beginning to fall apart. Plans you were counting on don't work out. Opportunities slip through your fingers. The doors you prayed would open remain tightly shut. It's confusing, sometimes even painful. But remember, when God is orchestrating something big, he often allows smaller things to collapse. He's not trying to break you. He's clearing the way. If you're holding on too tightly to something that's too small for your destiny, he might have to let it be removed so your hands are open to receive the greater gift. You may feel like you're losing, but in truth, God is setting you up for a divine exchange. And during all of this, your inner world will start to change. Your thoughts will shift. Your heart will feel a pull towards something deeper. Your desire for things that don't feed your spirit will fade. You may feel drawn to spend more time in prayer, to reflect, to seek. That's not random. That's God calling you to prepare, to sharpen your ears, to tune your heart. Because when the big moment comes, when the opportunity or breakthrough or responsibility arise, you need to recognize it. You'll need wisdom to handle it. So God starts teaching you in secret before revealing you in public. Sometimes God will even send people into your life briefly to spark something inside of you. A conversation with a stranger that changes your mindset. A message that seems tailor-made for your situation. A challenge that forces you to rise. Don't dismiss these moments. They are small pieces of the bigger puzzle. They are divine breadcrumbs leading you to your next chapter. In this process, God is not only preparing the blessing for you, He is preparing you for the blessing. Because a big gift in the hands of an unprepared person can be a burden instead of a blessing. So God works on your character, stretches your faith, deepens your trust. He's not delaying, He's developing. He knows what's ahead, and He wants you to have the strength, wisdom, and spiritual maturity to handle it well. So when you feel uncomfortable, when your world starts to shift, when you sense something greater is coming, but nothing around you looks like it, don't panic. Don't retreat. Lean in. Pray more, listen more, trust more. These are not signs that you've been abandoned. These are signs that you are being positioned. Because when God is about to give you something big, He always prepares you first. When God is about to bless you with something big, He often begins by stirring your spirit and placing you in situations that challenge your usual way of living. But one of the most overlooked truths is that what God is preparing to give you requires you to be spiritually sensitive and obedient. The size of the blessing is often equal to the level of alignment required. In other words, you cannot walk into something great while living in spiritual confusion or emotional disobedience. This is why before the blessing shows up, God works on your ears before He works on your environment. He sharpens your discernment. He begins to speak in ways that are quieter but more personal. He teaches you to listen not just with your mind but with your spirit. This sensitivity doesn't come from being religious or busy. It comes from intimacy, from spending time in prayer, silence, and deep reflection. When you quiet your surroundings, the voice of God becomes more distinct. And when He's preparing you for something big, His instructions become more specific. He might tell you to leave a job, to start something new, to forgive someone you don't want to forgive, or to give up something that seems good but isn't part of your future. Obedience in these moments is critical because blessings are not just handed out, they are walked into. And each step of obedience is a step toward what He's preparing. Many people miss their season of increase because they ignore these divine nudges. They dismiss them as passing thoughts, or they delay action because it's uncomfortable. But when God gives a prompting, it is not always convenient. It is often a test. Will you trust Him even when you don't see the full picture? Will you follow even when it costs you something? Big blessings are not cheap. They come with responsibility, with timing, and with purpose. And God won't place something heavy in the hands of someone who refuses to grow stronger. Another sign that you are nearing something big is that you start losing interest in distractions. The things that used to entertain you don't satisfy anymore. The places you used to go don't feel right. The people who once held your attention may seem to drift away. This is not isolation, it is consecration. God is separating you, not to make you lonely, but to make you focused. Because you cannot afford to miss the instructions in this season. You cannot afford to be spiritually dull or emotionally dependent on the wrong voices. God needs your attention. And when you respond with obedience, even when it's hard, you are signaling to heaven that you're ready. Often, obedience doesn't make sense until later. You may not understand why you're being asked to wait or let go or step out. But on the other side of obedience is clarity. On the other side is peace. And eventually you will see why it had to be this way. You'll look back and realize that every moment of surrender was leading you to something beyond what you asked for. The greatest breakthroughs are given to those who are not only faithful but also flexible. They are willing to move when God says move, even if the map hasn't been shown. They trust the shepherd more than the scenery. So if you feel God calling you to change, to shift, to grow, don't resist. Lean in, follow through, be sensitive to the Spirit and quick to obey. Because the door that is opening next will require you to be ready, not just willing. God is not trying to make your life difficult. He's trying to make your life meaningful. And the way to receive the big thing he has for you is not by striving harder, but by listening deeper and obeying faster. The blessing is real. The promise is sure, but your sensitivity and your obedience will determine how soon and how fully you walk in it. When God is about to do something big in your life, one of the clearest signs is that he begins to create a sense of inner discomfort and restlessness within you. That this isn't the kind of discomfort that comes from fear or anxiety. It's a spiritual uneasiness, a holy dissatisfaction. Things that once brought you joy or contentment begin to lose their flavor. You may feel like something is missing, even though nothing has changed on the outside. That internal shift is often the first indication that God is moving you out of your current place and preparing you for something greater. It is his way of pulling you away from the ordinary and nudging you toward your destiny. This restlessness may show up in different areas of your life. Perhaps it's your job that no longer excites you. You used to feel passion and purpose in what you did, but now you sense you've outgrown it. Maybe it's certain friendships or routines that no longer serve your growth. You begin to crave deeper conversations, more meaningful experiences, and a life that feels aligned with your inner calling. What's really happening here is that your spirit is expanding. God is increasing your capacity so that you will be able to carry what he is about to place in your life. At the same time, you may find that the comfort zones you once clung to begin to feel like cages. And when that happens, it's tempting to try to fix things externally, change your schedule, rearrange your surroundings, distract yourself with entertainment or busyness. But none of those things will work because the real work is happening on the inside. God is preparing your heart for something more. He's making you uncomfortable in the temporary so you can pursue the eternal. The discomfort is not a problem to be solved. It is a message to be understood. Often during this phase, you will experience growing pains. Things may begin to fall apart, not to destroy you, but to push you into movement. That business plan may not work out. That relationship may start to fade. That opportunity you hoped for may be delayed. But it's not because you are forgotten or forsaken. It's because God is removing what no longer fits the next chapter of your life. He's not taking away to punish you. He's making space for what's coming. You might also begin to feel a strange combination of being lost and hopeful. You can't quite explain it, but deep down you know something is about to change. There's an unshakable feeling that you're on the edge of something new, even if you don't know what it is yet. That's the divine tension, the space between where you are and where you're about to be. In that space, God is reshaping your thinking, refining your character, and deepening your dependence on him. You'll notice that your prayers begin to change too. Instead of asking for comfort, you start asking for clarity. Instead of begging God to keep things the same, you start asking him for courage to step into the unknown. That shift in prayer is a sure sign that your spirit is aligning with your assignment. You're no longer asking God to maintain your current season. You're asking him to lead you into the next one. So don't ignore the signs. When life becomes too tight for your soul, when the familiar becomes frustrating, when you feel like you're being stretched, take it as confirmation. You're not breaking down, you're breaking through. That inner restlessness is a sign that God is about to do something big. Stay patient. Stay tuned in. Let the discomfort do its work. Because when the preparation is complete, when the timing is right, the door will open and you'll walk into something that not only fits who you are, but who you were always meant to be.